The first time I reviewed a 4Runner was way back in 2010, and that was the start of the 5th generation of 4Runner. And this one here, the 2022, is still the 5th generation of 4Runner. The 4Runner started back in 1984 and has been a staple in the off-roading community ever since, especially this one here, the TRD Pro. So there's not a ton new, not a ton that they've done styling-wise or tech-wise. What they've been doing the last couple of years is adding more and more of the TRD features into the lower and lower trims. We'll talk about all of those trims here in just a second, but this one is the top of the line. This is the TRD Pro. We're gonna dive into it today. I'll give you guys a good look around, see what's new, see what's the same. Let's get into it. All right, and there are quite a few trims to go over, so let's go through them really quickly. The base is the SR5, which has been the base for a long time. The next step up from that is the TRD Sport, which is new for 2022, and again, brings some of those TRD features, some of the TRD looks into a lower trim, which is really excellent that you get some more capabilities, but less flash. Then you have the Trail Special Edition, then the SR5 Premium, the TRD Off-Road and TRD Off-Road Premium, which again are some of the TRD components on a lower trim, and those were introduced just a year or so ago. Then you have the Limited, which is the most kind of luxurious option that you can get, and then the full rugged TRD Off-Road is your top of the line trim. And with that out of the way, let's take a look at this exterior. All right guys, and starting off with the exterior design here, let's talk about that paint color. Every year they bring out a new paint color to give it something new to talk about, really. This one is the new paint color for 2022. It's called Lime Rush. It's not necessarily my favorite color, but I have gotten a lot of compliments going down the road, stopped at gas stations, in parking lots. Compliments on this color. People seem to like it. At least it stands out to something a little bit more bold than just your regular green or gray. So again, not my favorite color for a vehicle, but it definitely draws some attention. Up front, you can see that unique Toyota badged front grille with Toyota spelt out. That's unique to the TRD Pro. We have LED headlights. Finally, LEDs all around. So LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, LED fog lights. We have that front skid plate with TRD Pro stamped in red. That really shows you that this one is capable of just about anything. We have the TRD roof rack up there, so you can haul much more stuff up on the roof. We have black TRD Pro badges all around the exterior. Our wheels are 17-inch matte black flow form TRD alloy wheels, and they are rocking Nitto Terra Grappler all-terrain tires. We do have the very small running boards on here. They're actually really hard to get your foot on, and if you're as tall as me, you usually just end up skipping them. But if you're a little bit shorter and you need the running board to get into the vehicle, it is actually a little bit more difficult because of how small they are. But it's made that way so that you're not losing any ground clearance by having those running boards on there. You can also see those Fox shocks back behind those wheels and the TRD tuned suspension. And of course, here in the rear, you do have the TRD Pro badge again, 4Runner badge. You've got your exhaust that comes out to the side and some LED taillights. Looking at overall dimensions of the truck, it is 72 inches tall with that roof rack. It's 75.8 inches wide. It's 191.3 inches long with a 109.8 inch wheelbase. All right, and coming back to the hatch and taking a look at the cargo area, you do still have the rolling down window that you can roll down from the back here and access stuff. You can lift it with a button here. And the 4Runners actually come in two different configurations here. You can get a 4Runner with 3 rows. I've actually never driven a 4Runner with the 3-row. All of them I've ever driven had just the 2-row, but the 2-row here in the TRD Pro gives you access to this sliding shelf, which I really like. So whatever you've got back here, you can slide it out, have easier access to it instead of having to really lean in. and that can support up to 440 pounds, so you could put people on there. We also have a cover. You have a 120 volt plug, JBL speaker back here, and you get 46.3 cubic feet of cargo volume. Now you can fold those rear seats down to increase that up to 88.8 cubic feet of cargo volume. But all in all, it's a great amount of space. If you need to put gear back here for whatever you're doing, off-road, tents, whatever, they'll all fit back here. You shouldn't have any issues with still being able to carry people. All right, with that, let's close it up and let's go check out what's under the hood. All right, and the engine under the hood should be no surprise. It's the 4-liter V6 engine, 270 horsepower, 278 foot-pounds of torque, matched up to a 5-speed automatic transmission. Just like the bodywork and everything else, not much has changed here under the hood. It's a little bit more efficient than it used to be, but it's still pretty horrendous on fuel economy. But if you're looking for fuel economy, go buy a RAV4. No heavy, serious off-roader is gonna get you good fuel economy, but we'll talk more about that as we jump behind the wheel. And to get on that, let's go ahead and jump inside, take a look at the interior of this thing, take a look at some of the tech, and then we'll take it for a drive. All right, guys, so here in the interior of the 4Runner, there's a lot going on. And here in the TRD Pro, we do have leather seats with the TRD logo embossed in there in red. Very cool. Let me go ahead and give you guys a look around. So you do have decent materials here in the TRD Pro. You do have leather scattered around with some nice red stitching, but most of this is pretty just hard plastic, which is okay. You do have the rubber floor mats, which are great because it's been muddy and they're a lot easier to clean. And you can see that 4Runner TRD Pro logo there. It is a push button start, so we'll go ahead and turn it on. And of course, you do get a lot of good amenities like a nice touchscreen display that's decently responsive. You do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto available to this. As you can see, we also do have built-in navigation. Below that, your AC and heat controls. Below that is a USB port for charging and an accessory port back here. A couple of little cubbies for holding things. Coming back is your first cup holder, your second cup holder here, a little cubby right here. Heated seats. These are heated seats here, so you do have your heated seat toggle there. This is a nice carbon fiber looking trim piece on here. This is the auto up and down for that back window. Your armrest with the red stitching, nice, and a lot of storage. That shift knob is a TRD shift knob, nice and chunky. You do have a 360 camera and a backup camera, and these cameras are really crappy quality. I definitely wouldn't rely on that 360 camera for hardly anything, and the backup camera itself is almost just as bad, especially if you get any kind of mud or dirt or anything on that camera lens. It's almost impossible to see out of. Steering wheel here is a leather wrap steering wheel, nicely laid out. You've got a lot of options here, including a toggle for your driver interface. So you do get your speed and RPMs as analog gauges, as well as fuel and your engine temp. And then you get a digital display here. You can see we're rocking our fuel economy here, which is 15 miles per gallon, and that's pretty terrible, but again, what do you expect from this heavy vehicle? And you've got some other options here to toggle through, including your steering angle, which is cool to see, tire pressure, a compass, and some of your safety features here. Up at the top, we do have a lot of your 4-wheel drive features like hill climb or crawl, and you can adjust the speed there. You have your terrain management right here, your traction control, your A-track, and your locker. And then of course down here, your traditional shifter into 4-wheel high and 4-wheel low. And with that, let's go ahead and let's get this thing out on the road. So the first thing I noticed getting in this thing, starting it up and driving it, that kind of annoys me about the vehicle is how loud it is. And that might be appealing to its target audience, but I don't necessarily like that loud exhaust. I don't know how necessary it is for the engine's power, but I'd much rather prefer it be not as loud of a drone for day-to-day driving. That's kind of a personal preference. It is an off-roading vehicle. It's got off-roading shocks, off-roading suspension, so it is pretty bouncy as you hit bumps, which for some back country roads and a lot of bad roads here in North Texas, it's actually really nice. But obviously that also does make the handling of the vehicle suffer. Not that you're buying this for cornering, but as you do take corners, you definitely get a lot of body roll. It's a little bit harder to manage, but again, that's something that you sacrifice in any kind of off-roading vehicle. Unfortunately, I don't really have a place to take this thing off-road during my week of testing, but I have driven the 4Runner in lots of different variations off-road throughout my years, including just here recently at a couple of off-roading events. So we'll throw some footage in there. But if you're looking at this vehicle, you should know it can pretty much get you anywhere. There's not a vehicle that's going to get you anywhere much better than this thing. It is heavier than a Jeep Wrangler, but it can go almost anywhere that those Wranglers can go. If you know what you're doing off-road, this thing will get you where you want to go. But living with it day to day, we do now have radar guided cruise control. We have a lane keep warning system. You've got the nice infotainment system. Audio system sounds good. Seats are comfortable, heated seats, automatic adjusting seats, power adjusting seats, which are easy to adjust. But again, if you're buying this for a day-to-day vehicle and you're never going to take it off-road, please don't buy the TRD Pro. Fuel economy is rated at 16 city, 19 highway. You already saw that we're averaging 15 miles per gallon. This has done mostly city and country driving, not much highway driving. But there's also times that we let it idle as we're taking pictures and video and stuff like that. So I can see you getting that 16, maybe 17 if you do some combined driving. But all in all, it's not great fuel economy in this vehicle. Toyota could outfit this with a better, more efficient engine, but the hardcore enthusiasts that like this thing will probably revolt against that for the most part. Jeep's been doing a lot of different things with their engines and the Wrangler and trying to get more efficiency out of those. So it could be done, but again, this thing hasn't really been updated for 12 years. But before I rant any further, let's go ahead and pull back over. We'll talk about the price and I'll give you my final thoughts and we'll wrap up the video there. So base price for the TRD Pro is just over $52,000. This one with the color and a few options is $55,000. That's a lot of money to invest in a vehicle, but if you look at other off-roading vehicles in the segment, that's a pretty good price. You're definitely getting a lot of bang for your buck, and despite this thing being 12 years old now, it is still a super capable, very nice vehicle. If you're into off-roading at all, you know it's Jeep or it's 4Runner, at least in the SUV segment. But definitely if this is something you're interested in getting, the TRD Pro is a great option of the 4Runner. It is the top of the line. You can get away with getting one of the lower end, the TRD Sport, the TRD Off-Road. Both are still very capable vehicles, but you don't get as much flash or as much protection as you do in this thing. If you're really serious, this is what you're looking at, and definitely worth buying. With that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the 4Runner, the TRD Pro. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We do a different review of a different vehicle every week, plus a lot of off-roading or different event coverage on the channel as well. You can also go check out TXGARAGE.com for more written reviews as well as event and news coverage from a lot of great authors over there. So please go check that out. With that, again, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.